All right, welcome back to the SportsMax Zone, and we're still talking track and field here on the show. Well, with all the buzz surrounding the Olympic Games set for Paris later this month, and the athletes set to suit up to represent the Caribbean, simmering in the background are the exasperating stories about the star athletes who will miss the Games. Double-double Olympic sprint champion and 100-meter Olympic record holder Elaine Thompson-Herah is out, and her Jamaican teammate, world 400-meter champion Antonio Watson, will have to wait a little longer for his Olympics debut. Well, the athletes all suffered injuries, missing their national trials last weekend. There's also uncertainty surrounding Bahamian reigning 400-meter champion Shaunae Miller-Uibo, who pulled out of the Bahamas trials this past weekend with an injury and is in a race against time to be fit for Paris. So, Lance, you know, with every event comes the positive stories, the record breakers, those making history, and then the heartbreaking stories. And today we focus on some of them, not because we want to focus on negative stories, but because it's so important that we discuss issues like this and stories like this, because when you think about Olympics, and I said it when we got the news of LA not being a part of Paris 2024, these athletes have made a massive impact on the lives of so many different people in different spheres. And I think it's fitting that, you know, we discuss how much of a miss Paris 2024 will be without these names.
Yeah, and can I start with Shaunae Miller-Uibo? Because her position is a little different, because it is not 100% confirmed that she will miss the Paris Olympic Games. She missed the trials where she ran the 200 meters, felt something and stopped running. She didn't contest the 400 meters, and there are reports that she has a hamstring issue that she's battling with. The problem for her is that coming off having her first child, she hasn't made the qualifying mark for the Olympic Games, but she has a world ranking, I think, that qualifies her to make the Bahamian team. And I had a chat with one of the top officials in the Bahamas earlier on this afternoon, and he has confirmed that the Bahamas Athletics Federation is prepared to put Shaunae Miller-Uibo on the Bahamas team, just in the event that she can be fit enough to compete. They have not yet ruled out her competing. So there was a story going around that she's out of the Olympic Games.
But you have the update.
But yeah, but the Bahamas story is that that is not at the moment true, because there is a chance that she could still compete. Bahamas has a rich history of 400-meter success. They have had global champions in the past like Avard Moncour, Tonique Williams-Darling, who won the 2004 Athens 400 meters. Shaunae Miller is back-to-back Olympic champion, Rio and Tokyo.
She's on course for hat-trick.
She was going for the hat-trick, or she is going for the hat-trick here. Based on her current situation, it will be very, very difficult, even if she competes, for her to retain her title. But she's a very resilient athlete, and you don't want to write her off because of the difficulties she is having. But she's not had the best build-up, and there are still hopes, fingers crossed, in the Bahamas and the Caribbean, that Shaunae Miller-Uibo will be able to compete and overcome the hamstring issue that has bothered her. For the other two, a stark contrast, because Elaine Thompson-Herah has already doubled in the sprints in Rio and Tokyo. Never before has a female athlete done that. So she was aiming to consolidate her position as the premier Olympic sprinter on the women's side. Quite different from Antonia Watson, who was a shock winner of the 400-meter final at the Budapest World Championship last year. So he's at the beginning of his career, and he would have wanted to show that his gold medal win in Budapest last year wasn't a fluke, and he's good enough to come back a year later in Paris and be the Olympic champion. But the past couple of months haven't been very good for him, because he did have the injury setback, and then, you know, all of his hopes crashed at the national trials because of the injury. But we've already discussed the Elaine Thompson-Herah issue, because her disappointment is really, really profound because of how much joy she has given her fans in the last 2 Olympic Games, and the fact that she had issues from the last couple of years, coaching issues, changing camps and so on, her Achilles injury that has bothered her. Even when she won in Tokyo, it was an injury she was battling. So she's had a tough time trying to get back to the level that she was in Tokyo. And it was just shattering for her and her fans that she, at the New York Grand Prix a couple of weeks ago, had this injury. And a few weeks after that, had the uncomfortable and despairing, I have to say, announcement that Paris will not happen for her.
Yeah, well, I'm happy, Lance, that we have that updated piece of information about Shaunae Miller-Uibo, because I know a lot of people, we spoke about that misinformation, the stories that are, of course, leading. Definitely hope that she can represent our country, and of course the entire Caribbean will be looking on. But with emphasis on Elaine and Antonio Watson, how much of a miss is this for Paris 2024? And I'm asking you, in your capacity as somebody who will be working on the Olympics, a man who has of course commentated on so many Olympics before, how much of a miss will these two athletes be?
Well, for Elaine Thompson-Herah, it would be massive, because a couple of months ago, I remember we had a discussion on the SportsMax Zone some time ago about the face of the Olympics and who the IOC would use as the face of the Olympics to sell the Olympic Games for track and field. And of course, no need to sell the Olympics because it is already the pinnacle of sporting, a sporting show. But Elaine Thompson-Herah was a huge part of that conversation, because as the reigning double-double champion from 2016 through to Tokyo, her story is one of the biggest for the Olympic Games. So her not being there is a massive blow to the track and field at the Olympic Games, and to her fans, and to the Jamaican fans and Caribbean people who love Elaine Thompson-Herah so much. To be fair, not such a massive blow for Antonio Watson from an audience standpoint, because he has not yet established himself in the way that Elaine Thompson-Herah has. But his win in Budapest last year was one of the most fascinating of the World Championships in Budapest. And a lot of fans were excited about his sudden rise to the top, because his win was an upset win.
Yes.
So his story is also a tremendous story. So Antonio Watson missing from the Olympic Games in Paris is also a huge blow. As I said, though, not to the level that Elaine Thompson-Herah is, but from the standpoint of the upset and the sensation that he provided in Budapest last year, everyone would have wanted to see what he would do coming to the Olympics 14 months after or 12 months after. So in both cases, a huge disappointment. And as I said with the Shaunae Miller-Uibo story, she is, following up on a rich history of Bahamians at the one-lap event. Steve Gardner is the reigning Olympic champion as well, and let's hope that he can carry the flag for the Bahamas, if it is that Shaunae Miller-Uibo doesn't have the current form and conditioning to be a champion for the 3rd Olympics in a row.
Yeah, of course, wishing all of the athletes a speedy recovery and hoping that we can see them compete very, very soon. Well, as we here continue to count down the days until the 2024 Paris Olympic Games, the SportsMax Zone continues to have special features surrounding this summer's highly anticipated games. It's Tuesday, and that means it's time for our Eyes on Paris feature. Here's Gerard Morris-Seeley with the roundup.
Keeping you up to date on all things Olympics, this is Eyes on Paris. We begin with news out of Jamaica. National record holder Nikisha Price retained her women's 400-meter title on Sunday's final day of the J3A's National Championships, running 50.01 seconds in the final. Price, who was a semi-finalist at last year's World Athletics Championships, was asked about her objectives for the Summer Games.
I'm just going back to school, get ready for Paris, and anything happen, just happen. Stay healthy and get a medal at Paris. Be on the podium. That's my aim.
Still in Jamaica, reigning women's 100-meter hurdles world champion Danielle Williams says she's thankful to have finally made her maiden Olympic team after securing her spot in Paris at the national trials over the weekend.
You know what? I don't feel any different. To be honest, I mean, I'm happy. I'm blessed to be on the team this time around. I know God is an on-time God. It is His will to be on the team this time. The other 2 times it wasn't His will. And so I'm just giving Him thanks and staying in the moment, staying grounded, going back to work, putting the work, and gear up for Paris.
News from Team USA, Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone continues to rewrite history after lowering her world record once again, running the 400-meter hurdles in a staggering 50.65 seconds on Sunday to win the U.S. Olympic trials. In only her 4th long hurdles race of the season, the 24-year-old defending Olympic champion bettered her record run at Hayward in the 2022 World Championships by 0.03 seconds. To Great Britain now, European 100 meters champion Dina Asher-Smith believes she has what it takes to become the first British woman to win an Olympic sprint gold medal at the upcoming Paris Games. The 28-year-old sealed her place in the British team for Paris by winning in a championship record time of 22.18 seconds in the 200 meters. This has been Eyes on Paris. Until next time, au revoir.